What up, YouTube? Doug here, Thursday night video, and yeah, we had to pull out Big Herc for Shade. So this will be Shade's second breeding with us, and Big Herc's first. He just made 9 months, and look how massive he is. He actually, I think he's heavier than Legend now. I mean, he is short and massive. So Shade and Herc, this breeding's going down, and we already know Shade's an awesome producer. She's got the little Moose is her dad. She's got the old school Dax and the micro Hobbit blood. And you guys know Big Herc is a mission son, and his mom, Miss Atlanta Girl, is line bred Bolo. So we're real excited for these two, Shade and Herc. So stay tuned, and we'll let you know how they come out, and we'll keep you guys updated. Today, gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna answer questions. So I've had a bunch of questions in my Instagram feed this week through direct message. So I'm gonna answer the Instagram questions that I've had. So I'll go ahead and start. The number one question I've been getting is, at what age can you start breeding your female, and how many litters can each female have? So really the standard for the bullies and the Frenchies, most people will start breeding the female in their second heat. And if they stay healthy, all goes good. Usually in a career, a female can have around 3 or 4 litters. Really, once you get past the age of 5, I think your risk factor goes up a little. But if everything goes good, yes, you can have 3 or 4 C-sections, 3 or 4 litters. Next question is, at what age do we wean our pups off the mom? We typically try to wean our pups off the mom around 4 weeks old. We buy a Royal Canine starter mousse. It's like a canned wet food Royal Canine starter mousse. And we try to wean them off the mom early. We find that it it wears the mom out less, and it's just, prevents aspiration. We like getting them weaned early at 4 weeks, and that Royal Canine starter mousse is the food we use. The stuff is amazing. Somebody asked, when we wean the pups off the mom, where do we keep them? Do we use cedar chips? No, we don't. We have what's called a Midwest puppy playpen that has a real small graded floor, and we move the pups from the whelping box with the mom into that Midwest playpen with the real small graded floor when they're around 4 or 5 weeks old. Someone said, what's the biggest thing to watch for? I'm having my first litter of micro bullies. I would say the biggest thing in your first litter of any bully breeds, bullies or Frenchies, is watch for aspiration. Usually at around a week old, when the mom's milk's coming in and they start suckling strong, if you start seeing little bubbles form with milk coming out of their nose, then you definitely want to have a tool to suck that milk out of their nose. You can kind of hold the pup upside down, but you don't want that. You don't want them to breathe milk in through their nose and get it into their lungs and get pneumonia. So that's one thing to really watch for with your first litter. Someone else said, how do I start a bully kennel? That's a big question I get. I mean, really, not to state the obvious, but I would start with a female and a male, and really do research and start with the exact, kind of dog, style dog, size, structure, everything. Invest correctly, start with what you want, and start with a female and a male. And I would say whoever you purchased your breeding female from, obviously you got breeding rights and it's a breeding quality female. So whoever you purchased your female from, that breeder should, answer your questions and help you along the way and almost be as like a mentor to you. So if you purchase your female from someone, from a quality breeder like you should, and you're going to start breeding, you should use that breeder as like your mentor. That would be what I would look for. Someone else said, do we do co-owns? Well, you guys know I have our dogs spread around with tons of family. So I have a bunch of family that's also into the bullies and the Frenchies like us. So we definitely, I guess in a weird way we do. But we do it all with family and close friends who live, nearby. Hey, Aunt, leave it, guys. Little Blueberry's only 7 weeks, and they're being a little rough with this tiny little girl. All right, someone said, what's your favorite part of breeding? I would say, look at Blueberry, she's tough. I would say my favorite part of breeding is providing stud service and helping other breeders get their females pregnant and have crazy fire litters and showing them off. Whether it's in-person AIs or working with them to get the timing right or next day shipping semen. I love providing the stud service and watching other guys, drop real nice litters, produce what they want to produce and win. That's kind of my favorite part of this whole thing, is doing the stud services. Someone else said, when we do a stud service, if the female doesn't take, what happens? So if anybody uses one of our studs and the female doesn't take, we obviously will repeat the next heat at no charge, and we'll you know, ask you to get progesterone tests, and we'll just get a little more involved on the timing. Usually if your female doesn't take, it's a timing issue, so we'll really try to nail down the timing and what timing works for your female. But we definitely do offer that. Someone else said, do you recommend, sorry guys, I'm in the shadows here. Someone else said, do you recommend TCIs or surgical? So to me, if it's an in-person breeding, I recommend side-by-side AIs. If anyone breeds to our studs, we'll provide a side-by-side AI service at no additional charge. If you're shipping semen in, if it's good quality semen and they used a good extender, I always like starting with a TCI. A TCI, your vet goes in like a regular AI, but they use a camera and they inseminate that way, and it's less invasive than a surgical. I hate putting my female under anesthesia and doing any kind of cut on the female if I don't absolutely have to. So I would say start with the TCI, and if she doesn't take, then maybe the next breeding go to the surgical. That would be my best advice. Somebody else said, let's see, how many dogs do we have? Well, I try to keep, you know, between myself and all my family members and close friends who are in this with me, I try to have no more than like 5 at one place. But I'm gonna plead the fifth and not even answer the how many dogs do we have question. We have a lot. Leave it guys, leave it guys. Look at little Blueberry. I'm trying to get to these questions and they're picking on her. Somebody else said they locked Champ in. Is he ready yet? So Champ just turned 7 months old, so he is not ready yet. I'm telling everybody around when he's 9 months he should be ready. He'll turn 9 months in November, so when he is ready, I will let you know. Text or call me if you've locked Champ in and your female's coming in heat soon, but he should be ready around November. Someone else said, how tall is Champ? I've never put a wicket on Champ, but he's definitely as short as you could possibly get. I would guess he's around 7 inches to the withers. If you were to measure him from the ground to the withers, around 7 inches tall. Somebody else asked, what height is a micro? I get this one a lot too, and it's kind of confusing because a couple years ago, anything under 13 inches tall was considered a micro. But nowadays, I kind of consider 11, 12, 13 inches a regular exotic height, and I consider 10 inches to the withers or under a micro. So like Champ is for sure a micro, Lexi's for sure a micro, but like Legend, Casanova, Big Zeus, I consider them like a regular exotic height. To me, a micro, if you go to the shows and you go to you know, competitive stack offs, the real micro height to me is under 10 inches tall. And Legend, man, he is short. People who've seen Legend in person are usually shocked by how short he is. He has just stubs for legs, but he has such a girthy body. He's about exactly 12 inches to the withers, him and Casanova. So I don't really, you know, if you put them next to dogs Champ size, they look a lot taller, but I mean 12 inches is still a short dog. It's funny to me how short, every couple years micro gets shorter and shorter. But that would be my question to that. So that's really all I had this week in my Instagram messages. Figured I'd answer them on here. Hopefully everybody who follows me on Instagram also watches the YouTube. But if you have any questions you'd like me to answer about the exotic bullies, about the up-and-coming French Bulldog program, just about anything, you can leave them in the comments and I'll... Sorry guys, I was outside talking and my phone battery died, so I came in, got a phone charge, brought little Blueberry inside with me here, have her a little bone to chew on. But really, I answered all the questions I had. I did have some people saying, you know, a lot of you bully breeders are getting into Frenchies just for the money now. And I figured, you know, I haven't really touched on this before, but I'll go over it. You know, back in the day, a lot of American bully breeders that fell in love with just the big head and the muscle and the pit bull on steroid look, a lot of American bully breeders invested a ton of time, a ton of money, and did everything they could to breed to the just craziest, thick, awesome, short-muzzled dogs, bullied dogs of that time. And there was just, you know, the big downfall with the American Bully breed to me, and it really still is the lack of consistency. You can breed male and females, you can line breed, you can inbreed, you can do everything. And they're still pulling from grandparents, great-grandparents, and a lot of them are still getting a more pit bull look. And, you know, you'll get like in a litter of 8 American Bullies, like 2 customers that are thrilled, they got the real short, thick bully ones, and then 6 customers that weren't happy. So a lot of those American Bully breeders back in the day switched to breeding exotic bullies, and everyone said, oh, it was for the money, it was this, it was that. But really, I knew these guys, and it was for the consistency. They just wanted their customer base and their customers to be happy. And the exotic bullies had a lot more what they would call the sauce, the juice. They'd have the English and Frenchies behind them. And so if the genes pulled from a grandparent or great-grandparent, you'd still get the real short muzzle and the short low to the ground look. And, you know, the customers would be happy. There was more, and there still is more consistency in the real exotic bullies than there is in the American bullies. And that's why when people are putting together breedings with exotic bullies, you can't fully go off the pedigree, because you never know what pedigree you can believe or not. And you know, you have to know where the sauce is and how it's going to mix. I mean, it's just very complex and very hard to do. But to make a long story short, now I see a lot of exotic bully breeders starting to breed English bulldogs and French bulldogs. And I believe a lot of that is because they want all their customers to be happy. And like the French bulldog, like I said before, it's been around for so long. There's a lot of consistency in the muzzle shape, the head shape, the size, the structure. They are the healthiest bulldog. So I feel like, you know, that kind of evolution going from the old school American Bully to the exotic bully and then getting into the French bulldog, it really does make sense. And everyone likes to assume it's just for the money, but a lot of the times it's more than that. It's because, you know, once you're having productions and you're in the world and you're seeing what all these different dogs and these different bloodlines do, you realize real quick, you know, the big downside of the bully world is that big word, consistency. It really is. A lot of the biggest camps out there, they're even now selling these micro exotic bullies for, you know, huge dollar amounts that aren't turning out anything near like the parents or near like the puppies that these guys keep and show. So, you know, to me, getting into the French bulldogs, that's another aspect of it that it's hard to describe and it's hard to communicate. But I mean, there is a piece there with me and with other people I know that just really love that consistency and want every single customer to be thrilled that they got a puppy and it looks just like they expected it to. But anyways, guys, as always, I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for subscribing. I'll catch you next week with a update on the Pupita breeding, and we'll catch you on the next one.